ago called Understanding Media by Marshall McLuhan. And in that book, he coined this famous phrase, "the medium is the message," which is basically that the way that you present the information affects the information. In fact, it almost becomes the information. And I got really curious about this and thought, that's really, really interesting. I wonder how that might apply to creative writing. As I thought that as self-employed coaches, trainers or consultants, it'll be really important to be able to get your message out there. And I remember at that conference, Dan Bradbury went, "Who's got a message they want to send to the world?" And I went, "Yeah, that's me." And I thought, what is it? So what is it? I thought, yeah, what's the message? And then I thought, oh yeah, cool, I suppose I do have a message, but I don't really know what it is. So I thought the first step would be to kind of find out what my message is. Because I thought, unless you know what message you're trying to transmit, it's really difficult to, first of all, transmit the message, but secondly, choose the medium you're going to use to transmit it. Because nowadays, as trainers, coaches and consultants, you could use newsletters and the written word, flip videos, which is the video which we've been experimenting with, audio, with podcasts, and blog. You can set up websites. There's loads and loads of different medium. You could use Twitter or Facebook or the social media things. And so I thought, well, the question is, what's the message that you're trying to get out there? Because without knowing what the message is, so I thought, cool, how do I find out what is my message? So I thought the first thing to do would be to unblock this thing of fear of success. As I've noticed that one of the things that I used to do a newsletter every month, and then one day I just stopped doing it. And I wondered, I became really curious, how come I stopped doing it? So I thought the first thing to do would be just to use the Pomodoro method. The Pomodoro method is where, have you ever seen that Italian tomato sauce called Pomodoro? Well, this guy, who's an Italian guy, came up with this Pomodoro method using this timer that is the same shape as this tomato. So if you can see the timer there, what you do with the timer is set it for 25 minutes. And make a decision that for those 25 minutes non-stop, you're just going to output whatever wants to come out without any editing. It goes against all the stuff that you're taught at school about correcting all your mistakes as you're going along. You basically just write for 25 minutes. And so as you're going through, there may become a couple of points where you might want to go back and edit and stuff. The way to get past that is to speak what you're thinking as you're writing it. And just keep going. So my name is Graham, and I'm thinking about how to create really good content. I'm curious what it'll be like when it's all written. I know that I have some message I want to get out to the world, but I'm not quite sure what it is yet, so I'm going to keep on writing until I find out what it is. Or something along those lines. And just keep going for 25 minutes. So that's step one, is to keep going for 25 minutes. Step two is to start to experiment with, to produce a mind map. So you've all seen mind maps. And you take all this 25 minutes of word salad and put in the middle what is my message to the world, and then you put off it lots of different branches. And then put a theme that emerges from this word salad on each of the branches. And you may want to have branches off of branches and branches off of branches, depending on how far out you want to branch it. So that then gives you sort of a bit more organisation around your ideas. And then you can start to experiment with different media. So if you have some audio recording device, excuse me, my audio just needs a bit of adjustment, then you can practice letting the audio out and just speaking into a tape recorder. For those of you who have an iPhone, which I highly recommend, it has got a voice recorder on it. Yes, so it's good for that. You can also get a video and practice videoing. Videoing yourself, videoing other people, video things that capture your attention, or a camera. And just experiment with different media and just notice if the message is any different when you're doing it in different media. One of the things that I've heard of writing good copy is if you write it how you speak, which is quite a difficult thing to do, then it'll be good copy. And if you write it as though you're speaking to your best friend in the pub, which is step 4. So that's review all the stuff you've done so far. And before you get tempted to severely edit it, which will be a temptation, just notice as you're doing the editing, is this real and am I being true to myself as I'm doing the editing? And develop a habit of leaving more in, instead of taking everything out, just leave more in. And then once you've been through those 4 steps, then you've been ready for step 5, which is to tell your story, or to create a metaphor, which is how you can then deliver your message to the world. And that will be what we'll be doing over the next 3 months, starting in July. It's June now, isn't it? Yeah, it's July. So that's what we're going to do this evening, is to go a little bit more deeply into each of those steps as a strategy installation. And one of the key things with strategy installation is that when you're installing a strategy, you want ideally to have as little interruption as possible, which was really good, because like we went there through it quite quickly rather than having lots of in-depth questions about each step, which will tend to chop it up in smaller pieces. But you ideally want